T. Carlson, and I'm back with another video for you. Today, we're going to be taking a look at this, Star Wars Allegiance. This is a 4-issue Marvel Comics miniseries released as part of the Journey to the Rise of Skywalker campaign. In this comic, we find ourselves in the months prior to the Rise of Skywalker, and of course, the Resistance has taken a beating. They're reeling. They need to do what it takes to rebuild their ranks if they want to take on the First Order. So Leia takes several members of the Resistance to go to Mon Calamari, the homeworld of Admiral Akbar, who had previously backed the rebellion, but also seen their share of troubles over the past several decades. Poe and Finn take some other soldiers and go to another world to search for weapons the Resistance can use, but it's not long before they're under fire from bounty hunters who want to collect the bounty the First Order has on them. When Leia and her team arrive on Mon Calamari, they don't exactly get the most welcome of receptions. There have been many wars that have impacted this planet, as we've seen previously in the second Darth Vader comic and the main Star Wars comic, so it's no surprise many people there are not willing to risk themselves or put their planet under the occupation of an enemy again. It's not long before they have to find themselves in ritualistic combat just to prove their honorable intentions, and there are plenty of sabotage attempts. Eventually, they manage to accomplish their goal and secure more ships, but it's definitely not the easy thing you'd think it would be. And Poe and Finn, of course, they come under attack from those bounty hunters, and it's not long before a lot of their allies end up passing away at the hands of these villains in the First Order's employ, and they've got to put their heads together, do what they can, use their skill sets to get the weapons and get back to the Resistance. Eventually, of course, they manage to succeed because they have to live to be in Rise of Skywalker, obviously, but it doesn't come without losses. The remainder of the Resistance is hiding out in the Anoat system, A-N-O-A-T. If that name sounds familiar, that's the system that was home to the asteroid belt that the Millennium Falcon flies through, evading the Empire in The Empire Strikes Back. We never actually see the planet Anoat, so this is an interesting addition to canon and a fun reference to the past as well. However, those characters don't really get a whole lot to do in this comic because they're pretty much just hanging out at headquarters, and we get a few inspirational speeches and such, and that's about it. So how does Star Wars Allegiance measure up? The final answer is good, but not great. The stakes in this comic are not very high because we've got so many of the main characters, and you know they've all got to live to be in the next movie, obviously, and once again, it just doesn't really add a whole lot. It's just like sort of a supply run mission. It doesn't help that this comic was released alongside Resistance Reborn and Spark of the Resistance, which are actually two novels, both of which tell the whole Journey to Rise of Skywalker thing much better than what we see here. Now, the comic's not a total loss. There are some great humorous scenes and interactions between the characters. I do think Marvel's writers have really nailed the personalities of these characters, and one of the most positive traits I can say about the comic is that does shine through more often than not. But the single biggest weakness of this comic, there is no mention of Palpatine whatsoever. The comic does not at all talk about Palpatine's rebirth, rebuilding his army, his new Sith Empire, the Final Order, General Pride. All these things that kind of go without explanation in Rise of Skywalker, well, they go without explanation here too, so the whole thing kind of feels like a wasted opportunity we share with a lot of familiar characters we know aren't going to die. Overall, I would give this comic a good but not great ranking. The interactions between the characters are great, there's some fun action scenes, but it doesn't really tell us a whole lot we don't already know. Even characters like Kylo Ren and General Hux get relegated to basically cameos. And when we do see them, it reinforces the cruelty of the First Order, and that's really nothing we haven't seen before. It's kind of like reading a whole comic of Darth Vader force choking people from start to finish. We get the idea. We already know that they're cruel. Have you read Star Wars Allegiance? What did you think of this comic? Did you like it more than I did? Did you like it less than I did? Please share your opinions in the comment section below because I'd love to hear what you have to say. Also, subscribe to my channel and make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. This is Taylor T. Carlson, and I'll see you in my next Star Wars comic review.